When Vivian Ashford laughed at Lena Hart's body in front of 200 donors, the ballroom joined her. Matteo Valenti did not. He had spent years making rooms obey with a glance. But that night he used his silence for something harder. He made every crystal glass stop moving. Then he turned to the curvy teacher everyone had dismissed and said, "Dr. Hart, tell them what you found." Lena could have walked away to the new job waiting for her in Chicago. Instead, she opened the blue ledger that could destroy Vivian's perfect life and expose the stolen futures hidden beneath the gala's gold place cards. The blue ledger was still in Lena Hart's evening bag when she arrived at the Bella Rosa Hotel. She checked it twice before leaving home, not because she feared losing it, but because it held 6 years of work. Every scholarship seat at the Valenti Foundation Gala had a number. Every number belonged to a student, a donor, or a trustee with a specific duty. Lena knew them all. She knew which guests needed step-free access. To everyone else, the gold place cards were decoration. To Lena, they were promises. Her navy dress was simple, tailored, and chosen because it let her move through a 14-hour day. Vivian Ashford had once called it brave. Lena had smiled and kept walking. A woman who taught adults how to read contracts did not need help translating an insult. The ballroom glowed beneath chandeliers and expensive conversation. Lena passed the scholarship photographs, where her students' faces stood beside champagne and auction brochures. She disliked that part. But the foundation paid for classrooms, tutors, transit cards, and second chances. So she had learned to survive rooms that admired service more than the people who performed it. Dr. Hart. The voice behind her was smooth enough to make its cruelty feel rehearsed. Vivian Ashford stood at the edge of the ballroom in a champagne-colored gown. Her smile did not reach her eyes. 2 women from the gala committee hovered beside her, waiting for permission to laugh. "Thank goodness you're here," Vivian said. "I was beginning to worry the seating plan might collapse without its schoolteacher." "The seating plan is confirmed," Lena said. "Then I suppose you can relax." Vivian glanced at Lena's bag. "You did bring the ledger, didn't you?" "I always do." "Of course you do." Vivian touched the pearl at her throat. "Some women collect jewelry. You collect colored tabs." One committee woman gave a small, obedient laugh. Lena looked toward the long tables. Table 18 had a card in the wrong place. The name was correct. The color beneath it was not. A thin green line was meant for a scholarship guest. The card at table 18 carried a blue line reserved for a voting proxy. Lena had printed neither card that way. "Excuse me," she said. Vivienne stepped lightly into her path. "Before you begin correcting my ballroom, there is someone you should meet." She turned with the confidence of a woman who believed every room was a mirror. "Mr. Valenti." Matteo Valenti stood near the dance floor in a black tuxedo, speaking quietly with his attorney. He was taller than the people around him, but his stillness made the stronger announcement. The guests knew his family name was attached to the hotel, the shipping company, and the foundation. Lena knew something simpler. He had approved her budget 3 years in a row without reading far enough to remember the students' names. When he turned, his gaze landed on Vivienne first. Then it moved to Lena. "Dr. Hart," he said. "Mr. Valenti, Vivian tells me you saved the evening." "I prevented several small problems," Lena said. Matteo's expression barely changed. "Then the evening owes you thanks." It wasn't unkind. That made it worse. He sounded like a man thanking someone for replacing a broken light bulb. Useful, invisible, finished. Vivian touched his arm. "Lena is indispensable when things need arranging." The word arranging hung between them. Lena heard the smaller word beneath it. Help. Not judgment. Not authority. Matteo looked toward the orchestra platform, where the foundation board would gather before midnight. "We begin the trustee vote at 11:45, he said. "Will the room be ready?" Lena held his eyes. It was ready at 6. For the first time, a tension flickered across his face. Then his attorney murmured his name. Matteo gave Lena a brief nod and turned away. Vivian watched him go with a smile of possession. "You see," she said. "He values competence." "I'm glad he does," Lena replied. "You should be." Vivienne leaned closer. "Just remember that competence does not make everyone equal." Lena walked away before the woman could enjoy a response. At table 18, she lifted the blue-lined card without disturbing the centerpiece. The cardstock and print font were correct, but the tiny mark in the lower corner was missing. Lena placed a finger against the empty space. She had created that mark after a donor's proxy was misplaced the previous year. A simple safeguard. Only the scholarship office knew which cards required it. A waiter approached with a tray of sparkling water. "Has anyone been changing place cards?" Lena asked. The young man looked frightened. "Ms. Ashford's assistant moved some cards an hour ago. Did she say why?" "She said the board requested a last-minute adjustment." Lena thanked him and slipped the blue card into her bag beside the ledger. She should have gone to the foundation office upstairs. She should have checked the proxy list against the original file. Instead, she looked across the ballroom and saw Vivienne laughing beside Matteo. Vivienne's hand rested on his sleeve. Matteo did not move away. Lena had accepted a job in Chicago for a reason. The new school wanted her as principal of its adult learning program. They wanted her judgment before the room was dressed for it. They offered a real staff and a vote on every budget that affected her students. She could leave Bellarosa in the morning. She could let someone else explain why one blue line in a gold ballroom mattered. Then she saw Amelia Cruz near the scholarship display. Amelia was 21, brilliant with numbers, and still learning how to make eye contact after years of being punished for hesitation. She wore a borrowed silver dress and stood alone by a photograph from the first day Lena met her. Lena crossed the floor. "You look beautiful," she said. Amelia smiled with visible effort. "Ms. Ashford said I should wait here until the presentation." "Did she tell you where you're sitting?" "Table 18. Lena's stomach tightened. "That is your assigned table?" Amelia nodded. "She said a donor needed my place for a few minutes, but I would be moved back before dinner." "No one moves you," Lena said. Amelia blinked. "It's fine. I don't want to cause a problem." "You are not a problem." Lena said it softly. Then she said it again. "You are not a problem." Across the room, Vivian lifted a glass toward the stage. The quartet stopped playing. Guests began drifting toward their tables. And at table 18, the seat meant for Amelia Cruz carried the name of a company Lena had never seen before. Alderbridge Holdings did not belong at table 18. Lena knew every company that had paid for a scholarship seat. She knew every donor who had earned a vote. This company was not in her records. "Amelia," she said, "find Ms. Moreno in the green shawl and stay with her." "Did I do something wrong?" "No, but someone else may have." Lena watched the young woman leave before she crossed to the service corridor. The foundation office was on the mezzanine, behind a locked walnut door and a portrait of Matteo's grandfather. Lena had a key card because she ran the scholarship program. Vivienne had questioned that access more than once. Matteo had simply said Lena needed it to do her work. He had never noticed what that work actually was. Below, Vivienne's voice warmed the ballroom microphone. "Tonight is devoted to possibility." Lena swiped inside and opened the scholarship proxy folder. The original Table 18 card carried Amelia Cruz's name, a green line, and a tiny square in the corner. The card in Lena's bag had none of those things except the number. She opened the seating file. 3 scholarship seats had been reassigned. Each had become a proxy seat for Alderbridge Holdings. None had a verified donation, signed pledge, or contact history. Each late entry came from the administrative account of Graham Pike, Vivian's assistant. Lena printed the access log and slid it into her blue ledger. A foundation scholarship seat did not carry a vote. A proxy seat did. 3 false proxies could shift a trustee decision if the right people were already waiting downstairs. Vivienne did not need to steal the foundation's money tonight. She only needed the board to approve a change in control. The office door opened behind Lena. Matteo Valenti stood in the doorway, his black tuxedo unmarked and his expression guarded. "I was told you left the ballroom," he said. "I came to check a discrepancy." "During Vivian's speech?" "Especially during Vivian's speech." His eyes moved to the papers in her hand. "What discrepancy?" Lena did not answer at once. He was asking because he needed the room ready, not because he believed she might see a danger his board had missed. 3 scholarship seats were reassigned, she said. "To whom?" "A company that does not exist in our donor records." "Show me." She turned the monitor toward him. He read the screen with the focus of a man accustomed to finding threats in numbers. For several seconds, neither spoke. Then he said, "Graham has authority to update event files. He does not have authority to create proxy seats." Vivienne may have approved it. Then Vivienne has a question to answer. Matteo's jaw tightened. Not in the middle of a ballroom. Lena looked at him. Why not? Because an accusation without proof becomes a public weapon. This is an access log tied to 3 stolen scholarship seats. His phone vibrated. The attorney's name flashed on the screen. Matteo answered. "What is it?" He listened without speaking. His face changed from irritation to concentration. "When did the proxies arrive?" Another pause. "Do not seat anyone until I get there." He ended the call. "There are 3 representatives from Alder Bridge at the entrance," he said. "They have notarized proxy documents. Documents can be notarized and still be based on false assignments. They have trustee signatures. Then find out which trustees signed without knowing their votes were being consolidated." Matteo reached for the original grid. Lena put her hand over it first. His fingers stopped an inch from hers. He looked at her hand, then at her face. "What do you need?" he asked. It was the first useful question he had asked all evening. Lena lifted her hand. 10 minutes, a direct line to your legal team, and no one moving another card without my approval. Matteo nodded once. "You have 8. Then do not spend any of them defending Vivian." Something almost like respect moved across his face. He called his attorney back and placed the phone on speaker. Lena began naming the files she needed. Trustee proxies, original pledges, guest check-in reports, event printer records. Her voice was calm because it had to be. She used the same tone she used when a frightened student brought her a contract they did not understand. 1 page at a time. 1 question at a time. 1 fact before the next decision. Matteo watched her work with attention, not politeness. Then the ballroom doors opened. Vivienne stood at the threshold, framed by light and music. "Matteo," she said, "the board is waiting." Her gaze moved to the desk, then to the papers, then to Lena. "Oh dear, has our teacher found another seating crisis?" Lena closed the ledger. 3 scholarship guests were removed from their places. Vivian's smile thinned, then put them somewhere else. They were replaced by proxy cards. Vivienne walked in and shut the door. "Do you understand what a proxy is, Lena?" "I understand exactly what it is." "Then you understand it has nothing to do with a girl in a borrowed dress." Matteo's head turned sharply. Vivienne continued before he spoke. "This gala is not a classroom. You do not get to make every inconvenience into a lesson about fairness." Lena felt the old instinct to smooth the moment, to make herself smaller, so another person would not have to own their cruelty. She had spent years teaching women like Amelia that they were allowed to occupy a chair. She would not betray that lesson now. "It is not an inconvenience," Lena said. "It is an unauthorized transfer of voting rights." Vivian laughed once. "Listen to her. She has learned a few grown-up words from the paperwork." "Vivian," Matteo said. His voice was low. A warning, not a correction. Vivian looked at Lena's dress, her bag, and finally her body with open contempt. "You were hired to arrange chairs, Dr. Hart. Do not confuse being useful with being invited to the table." The office went silent. Lena did not look at Matteo. She looked at Vivian. Then she opened the ledger again. "Good," she said. "Let's talk about who was invited." "Let's talk about who was invited." Vivian's smile faded for less than a second. Then she folded her arms. "You are overstepping." "No," Lena said. "I am checking my records." Matteo's attorney was still on the speakerphone. Lena placed the guest check-in report beside the original seating grid. "Every scholarship seat follows one chain," she said. "An application, a confirmation, a transport request if needed, and a final check-in. The green line tells my staff that the guest completed that chain." Vivienne looked bored. Matteo did not. "The blue line is for an authorized proxy," Lena continued. "It can only be printed after legal verifies the donor record and trustee authorization." She held up the false card. "This card has a blue line, but no security square. It came from the event printer after the original card was removed." Vivienne laughed. "Or one of your assistants made a mistake." "Then it would carry their printer code," Lena said. "It carries Graham Pike's administrative code." Matteo's attorney spoke from the phone. "The event server confirms it. 3 proxy cards were printed from Mr. Pike's account at 10:42. "Graham handles my guest list," Vivienne said. "That proves nothing." "It proves the cards were not a seating adjustment," Lena said. "You used 3 scholarship seats to create voting access for a company with no foundation record." Vivienne stepped closer. "You have built your life around keeping track of chairs. Do not mistake a list for power." Lena met her gaze. "A list tells you who has been erased. That is power, when the people doing the erasing are counting on no one noticing." Matteo looked at Lena as if he had not known her before that moment. Then his attorney interrupted. "We have a larger problem. The Alderbridge representatives claim to hold 8 consolidated proxies." Matteo's expression hardened. 8? 5 are from trustees. The signatures appear valid, but the forms name Alderbridge as a temporary administrative delegate. Lena stared at the screen. The forms were dense enough that a busy trustee could sign them without catching the trap. But someone had left a clue in plain sight. The forms listed scholarship seat numbers rather than trustee names. "Zoom in on page 2, she said. The attorney did. Read the second paragraph. He read it aloud. "Administrative voting authority will transfer with the corresponding foundation seating designation." Lena looked at Matteo. "That language cannot belong in a trustee proxy. It links the vote to the gala seating chart. It only works if the scholarship seats are converted first." Vivienne's hand tightened around her wrist. A technical phrasing error. 8 times? Lena asked. Matteo's voice became quiet. "Who drafted the forms?" No one answered. Vivienne turned for the door. "The board cannot be delayed because Dr. Hart has decided she is a detective." Matteo stood between her and the handle. "The board is delayed," her eyes flashed. "In front of everyone? In front of no one, for now." Lena heard the cost of those words. Vivienne still expected protection. The ballroom applause rose again. The vote would begin after the next auction item, less than 15 minutes. Matteo turned to Lena. "What else do you see?" She looked at the list. "The 5 trustees whose signatures were used. Where are they seated?" Tables 4, 7, 9, 11, and 14, the attorney said. Are they marked as accessibility transfers? A pause followed. Yes, all 5. There it is, Lena said. The trustees were moved from their tables. Each replacement card was reclassified as a proxy seat. The hotel system sees it as an accommodation, so no one questions it. But every legitimate accommodation has a note, a ramp request, a companion seat, a medical need. These have none. The attorney stopped typing. Ms. Ashford's staff filed all 5 changes. Another voice entered the line. Graham Pike. Mr. Valenti, I can explain. You have one chance, Matteo said. Vivienne said the board wanted revisions. She told me the paperwork was approved. I printed what she gave me. Who gave her the forms? Matteo asked. Graham hesitated. Her brother's firm. Ashford Civic Development. Vivienne's face went pale with fury. My brother's firm advised this foundation for years, she said. Not on this transaction, Matteo replied. It is not a transaction. It is a rescue. Your schools are bleeding money. Alder Bridge will stabilize the assets. The assets are schools, Lena said. They are buildings, Vivienne shot back. Buildings can be used for people or against them, Lena replied. Your papers turned 12 campuses into collateral for a company that never donated $1. Vivienne smiled without warmth. And your answer is what? More bus passes and inspirational posters? Lena remembered every meeting where a student's name had been reduced to a cost. Her voice did not shake. My answer is that you do not get to call a child a liability because you prefer real estate to responsibility. Matteo looked at Vivienne. You used the foundation's gala to create a concealed vote. I used an opportunity you were too sentimental to take, Vivienne said. You gave Lena keys. You let her turn a charity project into a moral referendum. For one terrible moment, Matteo said nothing. Lena did not wait for him to choose a better silence. She collected the original grid, the print record, and her blue ledger. I am done for tonight, she said. Matteo turned toward her. Lena. My resignation is effective in the morning. The Chicago school is expecting me. You cannot leave now, Vivienne said, relief breaking through her anger. Lena looked at her. I can leave whenever I choose. That is the part you never understood. Matteo stepped closer, but stopped at a respectful distance. The vote is in 11 minutes. The foundation needs you. The students need someone who will defend them before the room becomes inconvenient, Lena said. His eyes lowered. I should have stopped her. Yes, Lena said. He accepted this word without argument. I will stop the vote. That is your responsibility. What happens next is mine. She walked to the mezzanine rail and looked at the ballroom below. Amelia stood beside Ms. Moreno, small against the gold light. Her empty chair still waited at table 18. Lena touched the blue ledger through her bag. Then she saw Vivienne's staff guiding the Alder Bridge representatives toward the stage. Leaving with her dignity would be easy. Leaving Amelia's future in that room would not. Leaving Amelia's future in that room would not be easy. Lena turned back toward the office. Matteo was waiting near the doorway. You came back, he said. I came back for the students. I know. He made no claim on her choice. That mattered. The board is gathering at the stage, he said. Vivienne told them there was a minor delay. There is a major fraud, Lena said. Yes. What do you need from me? Do not explain my evidence for me. Do not let anyone remove the documents. And when Vivienne tries to make this about my body, my job, or my place here. Matteo's face became still. I will make the room listen. Then let's go. They entered the ballroom together, but not as a rescue scene. Lena walked half a step ahead because she knew where every false card had been placed. The music stopped. Guests sat beneath the chandeliers, their faces turned toward the stage. Vivienne stood at its center, gold gown shining, hands relaxed around the microphone. The Alder Bridge representatives waited beside the trustee table with closed leather folders. They looked confident. Lena knew that confidence. It belonged to people who believed paperwork became truth if everyone important signed quickly enough. Vivienne saw Lena and smiled. Dr. Hart has decided to join us after all. A final concern about table arrangements. Several guests laughed politely. The sound was worse than loud. It was the sound of people choosing comfort over curiosity. Lena saw Amelia near the student services team and gave her a nod. Then Matteo took the microphone from Vivienne. The ballroom noticed at once. "Before the vote," he said, "there is a matter concerning the scholarship proxy list." Vivienne reached for the microphone. "Matteo, this is not the moment." "It is exactly the moment." He turned toward Lena. "Dr. Hart will explain." The ballroom went quiet, not because Matteo had asked them to respect Lena, because he had made silence feel like a command. Lena took the microphone. For 1 second, every old lesson rose inside her. Do not take too much space. Do not speak if the truth embarrasses someone powerful. Then she saw Amelia's empty chair at table 18. Lena opened the blue ledger. "This seat belongs to Amelia Cruz," she said, "not to Alder Bridge Holdings. Amelia earned it through the Valenti Scholarship Program after 2 years of working nights and studying accounting by day." The room shifted. Vivienne's smile became fixed. Lena lifted the false card. This card was printed from a gala administration account at 10:42 tonight. It replaced Amelia's verified scholarship card. It also created a voting proxy for a company with no donor history in this foundation. One Alder Bridge representative stepped forward. "Our documents are legal." "Your documents contain scholarship seat numbers," Lena said. "They do not identify trustees by name because the votes were not transferred through trustee authority. They were built by converting seats assigned to students and moving trustees through false accommodation requests." A murmur traveled through the ballroom. Vivienne laughed lightly. "This is absurd. Dr. Hart has confused event logistics with corporate governance." Lena looked at her. "No. You confused the people who do logistics with people who do not understand governance." Her attorney had sent the original grid to the ballroom screen. One by one, the tables appeared behind her. Table 18, Table 4, Table 7, Table 9, Table 11, Table 14. Blue lines replaced green lines. Names disappeared. Proxy entries appeared. Lena pointed to each one. Every legitimate accessibility change contains a support note, a companion request, a mobility requirement, a medical need. These 5 changes had none. They were filed by Vivienne Ashford's event staff and used to consolidate votes under Alder Bridge Holdings. The Foundation Board president stood. "Is that true, Ms. Ashford?" Vivienne's expression cracked. "They were administrative corrections." "Then why did they alter voting authority?" Lena asked. "They did not." "Then why does the proxy language transfer authority with a seating designation?" Vivienne's eyes flicked to her brother's attorney in the front row. That was all Lena needed. "The forms came from Ashford Civic Development," she said. "They create a back door to place 12 community campuses into an unverified development trust. They used this gala because scholarship guests are expected to be grateful for any chair they are given. They expected no one to notice when their chairs were taken." Silence returned. This time, it belonged to Lena. The board president turned to the Alder Bridge representatives. "Are you authorized to deny that?" The oldest representative opened his folder, then closed it. "We were retained to present the transaction," he said. "By whom?" "Counsel for Ashford Civic Development." Vivienne snapped toward him. "You were retained to protect my interests." No, Lena said. He was retained to protect a transaction. That is not the same thing. Vivienne looked at Matteo. You cannot be taking her word over mine. Matteo finally spoke. I am taking the evidence over everyone's comfort. Her face went white. You are humiliating me. You humiliated yourself when you decided students were tools. His voice stayed quiet. The room heard every word. Vivienne's anger flared. She is nobody in this room. She arranges the chairs. Lena held the microphone tighter. I do. I arrange them so the right people are not pushed out before they get a chance to speak. No one laughed. The board president asked for the documents. Lena handed over the ledger, the original grid, and the server printout. The vote is suspended, he said after reading the first page. All alleged proxies connected to Alder Bridge Holdings are void pending independent review. Vivienne took one step toward the stage. You cannot do this without a board vote. We can suspend a vote obtained through false representations, the president said. We are doing so now. Vivienne looked toward the doors. 2 hotel security officers had appeared, waiting. Matteo had made sure no document could leave. He had kept his promise. Lena met Amelia's eyes across the room. The young woman was crying quietly. Not because someone had saved her, because someone had said in public that her chair belonged to her. Then the board president faced Lena. Dr. Hart, would you remain while we determine the full scope of the damage? Lena looked at the open doors beyond the ballroom, where freedom was still waiting for her. I will remain, she said, but not as an assistant. But not as an assistant. The board president held Lena's gaze. What role are you requesting? An independent review of every scholarship seat, proxy, and property proposal connected to this foundation, Lena said. I want authority to pause any campus transaction during the review. I want student services at the decision table, and I want every person whose seat was taken restored before this evening continues. For years, Lena had watched the trustees speak of accountability as if it were a ribbon for a gala. Now no one spoke over her. Matteo stepped to the trustee table. I support Dr. Hart's conditions, he said. Not as a favor, as a correction. One trustee frowned. That gives her extraordinary authority. No, Lena said. It gives the program authority over decisions made in its name. The board president called for a vote. This time, every trustee was identified by name. Every hand was visible. The authority passed unanimously. Lena did not smile. Winning a vote was not the same as repairing what the vote had damaged, but she allowed herself one breath. Then she walked to table 18. Amelia stood beside Ms. Moreno, still holding her borrowed silver dress close around herself. Lena gave her the original green-lined place card. This is yours. I thought I should leave, Amelia whispered. You never had to earn the right to stay quiet in a room that invited you, Lena said. You earned your seat. Now take it. Amelia walked to table 18 and sat down. Other scholarship students followed their own name cards back to their places. Waiters reset the tables. The auction was canceled. No one complained. At the edge of the ballroom, Vivienne stood with her arms tight at her sides. The board president approached her with an independent auditor and the hotel's general counsel. Your committee access is suspended, he said. Your staff will provide all event, proxy, and development communications to the review team. Vivienne turned to Matteo. You cannot let them treat me like a criminal. They are treating you like someone whose decisions require review, he said. You know who I am. Yes. That is why I should have seen this sooner. He did not protect her. He did not make himself look noble. He admitted his failure belonged in the story, too. You chose her over me, Vivienne said. I chose the people you tried to remove, Matteo replied. I should have done it before she had to stand alone. Vivienne was taken to the private conference room with the auditor. No one celebrated. The consequences had only begun. By midnight, the ballroom had been cleared of auction signs and false proxy folders. Lena stood near the coat check, the blue ledger under her arm. For the first time in years, it did not feel like the only thing holding the system together. Mateo approached without an escort and stopped a few feet away. "I had the Chicago school call your office," he said. Lena raised an eyebrow. "You had no right to do that." "I asked my assistant for the public number. I did not speak to anyone about you. I needed to know whether their offer was real." "It is. It was real before you checked." "I know." He let the correction stand. "I will not ask you to turn it down," he said. "Then why are you telling me?" "Because I have sent the board a proposal for a paid independent position. Co-chair of the Foundation Review. Veto authority over any campus transaction for 2 years. You choose your audit team and report to the board, not to me." "Why 2 years?" "Long enough to repair the system. Short enough that you are never trapped inside it." Lena looked toward the ballroom. "You are offering power because I embarrassed you tonight." "No. I am offering it because you carried power without the title or protection that should have come with it." She waited. "I saw Vivian insult you," he continued. "I warned her instead of stopping her. I saw your work as support instead of leadership. I was wrong in public, and I will correct it in public. But correction does not buy your forgiveness." The night air moved through the revolving doors. Lena could imagine Chicago, a clean beginning, a school that wanted her judgment before the room was dressed for it. Then she thought of Amelia at table 18 and the audit team she could build. "I will accept the review position," she said, "on written terms. No private reports to you. No favors disguised as protection. And if I decide Chicago is where I belong, you do not punish these schools for losing me." "I agree. I want Ms. Moreno as deputy director, and Amelia Cruz offered a paid finance internship if she wants it." Mateo's expression warmed. "If she wants it, it is hers." Lena shook her head. "Ask her yourself. Nothing is hers until she chooses it." He nodded. "Of course." 3 weeks later, the independent review began. Ashford Civic Development withdrew after the audit uncovered the concealed proxy plan and undisclosed conflicts of interest. Vivian lost her committee role, foundation access, and the social certainty she had used like a weapon. Lena's team wrote new rules. No scholarship seat could be altered without the guest's consent and an independent record. No proxy could be processed through event staff. Students would hold 2 voting seats on the Foundation Advisory Council. Amelia accepted the internship after reading every line of the offer. Lena told her that was exactly the right way to begin. On the first night of the review, Mateo waited outside Lena's office after the staff had gone home. He did not come in. He knocked once on the open door. "May I take you to dinner?" he asked. Lena looked at the reports on her desk, then at him. "Is this a business dinner?" "No." "Is it a debt?" "No." "Do you think I owe you a chance?" "No," he said. "I would like one, and I will respect your answer either way." She held his gaze. "Dinner," she said. "One dinner. No drivers waiting outside. No one calling me Dr. Hart unless I ask them to." A real smile touched his face. "Agreed." Lena turned off her office lamp and picked up her coat. She did not leave the foundation behind. She left it with a title, a vote, a team, and a future that could stand without her carrying it alone. Then she walked beside Mateo through the quiet hallway. Not behind him. Not rescued by him. Beside him. If you were Lena, would you have taken the new power or chosen the clean escape in Chicago?